Listen, y'all, come on in. We're gonna go in a little early today. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, just a few more minutes. We're gonna go in. Yep. How's everybody doing? Just let me know in the comment section whether you can hear me. Not gonna be on here long tonight. Brother. Yep. Not gonna be on here long tonight. Come on, come on. I see you. I see you sliding in. Come on in. I see you sliding on in here. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Just let me know in the comment section. Look like Sharon, Titus, Christopher. What's going on, Chris? How you doing, man? Real quick, come on, slide in real quick. We're just gonna have a quick study. D'Angelo, okay, D'Angelo, what's going on, brother? Yeah, man, appreciate you, Doc. D'Angelo, on this guy for very, 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 very long time. Yes. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Now, let's do this right here. Give y'all 30 seconds to. Come on. Let's go. All right, guys, what's going on? This is Todd Mickens. Todd Mickens, Let's Talk About It podcast. Coming to you today. I was told. Now, if guys who want to tune in early in the morning, say you need to come on and come back later on in the afternoon. Come back later in the afternoon. So I'm here. I am here. I want to see whether or not me coming back later on in the afternoon is going to work. We're going to see if it is going to work. So as we get ready to prepare ourselves for this quick podcast, I want you guys to go ahead and, if you may, go ahead and tag somebody. Now, I'm going to do an open forum today where I want to talk about anything that you throw on the table, but we want to get back to the robbery in the church that happened last week. We had a couple people that was giving their opinions on it, and we're just going to see what you guys have to say again, like the preachers say again. So this may not be the top. This I'm sitting here. My dad is on live right now. Okay, let's see. I might see if I can find this right quick. Let's see. Who is this on right quick? This is Deborah McCrae's page. See if I can find it right quick. Deborah McCrae right here. Let's see if I can. She's live right now. let me see, and I'm gonna try. Let me see. Let's see if I can bring this on right quick, real quick. I'm gonna listen to my pops a little bit, and then we're going to uh go ahead on with the show. So y'all don't mind. I want to try to listen to my pops real quick here. See if y'all want to. Hopefully you all enjoy. Can y'all hear it? How many can say? Can I say it again? It's not. I don't know what's going on. I shall not. Let's see. There we go. There we go. And I'm This pops right there. Come on, one verse. It makes no difference what the situation may be. Call He rescued me. I decided I'll tell all my enemies, oh, I shall not. Mary Sells, what's going on? You know why? Because I'm like a tree. Y'all go ahead and share this podcast, please. Y'all excuse me, I'm trying something different. I ain't gonna let nobody stop me. I wish I had a witness in this building. Anybody like a tree? Right by the water. God bless you. All right. Patrice. All right. All right, guys, let me get Pops up out of here. Go ahead and get my show started here. Y'all make sure y'all go support the Highway Travelers. We get back to the page here. But back to everything that we was discussing. Welcome to the Todd Mickey Let's Talk About It podcast, where we talk about anything and everything. And we want to get back to the conversation of the pastor who was robbed in church. What was his name? Was it Bishop? Whoever was robbed, and let me just, I kind of wonder. I'm getting some mixed reviews on this robbery. I'm getting some mixed reviews on this robbery. Some folks are saying they think it was rigged. But I want to look at a different standpoint. Everybody's calling the preacher a scammer. Everybody's Matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring it up. Everybody calling him a scammer. Um, he's you know, he's this, he's that. Uh, but what I want to say is, like I was telling my wife earlier, you know, where do where do we hold ourselves accountable as people? I don't know whether this guy scams or not. I don't know. I have no clue. Don't have no clue if he's a scammer. I do know he does have a past. He has done time in prison for, if I'm not mistaken, for scamming. Um, but and one person, Cassius, what's going on? Helen, what's going on? One person, one preacher, one anybody shouldn't contaminate the rest of the basket of apples. Uh, but this particular guy, who's known, uh, more known now since the robbery happened, was robbed during his church service. We're talking about a guy, a pastor of a storefront facilities, probably with the membership of 30 to 40 people. But he rides around in Rolls Royce, big body luxury cars. He wears over $1 million in jewelry. I repeat, he wears over $1 million in jewelry. Okay. Now, he made a statement that I agree with. He made a statement I agree with. And I don't know if too many of y'all agree with it, but I want to talk about it. He said, he deserves to wear whatever he wants to wear. He deserves to drive whatever he wants to drive. Uh, and I totally agree with that. I don't see no, I think we as people, and this is gonna be an interesting topic. I think we as people of God, or people of the church, or people um, who quote unquote follow Christ, is there a certain way that we should dress? Is there a certain way that we should? I think the church predominantly has been taught that only the pastors, the prophets, the bishops supposed to ride. Yeah, we've heard of the prosperity ministries, and I see my mama is on here. Hey, Mama Jennifer, what's going on, Jennifer? My E2M buddy there. I think Jennifer all the way over in California herself. You right, Jen? Yeah. But yeah, I think. And by the way, again, welcome to the Todd Mickens Let's Talk About It podcast. I think there's a misconception. Hey, Jen is my friend. There's a misconception, I believe, that people of God, people of the, we are not supposed to be successful. We are not supposed to live lavish lives. We are not supposed to ride in the best. We are not supposed to wear the best. Now, I'm not trying, whatever. What's going on, Michelle? How you doing? Pastors Michelle and Waylon Gibson. How y'all doing? I do believe in this. Hold on, because Jennifer said I'm still in New Jersey, going back to. Okay, going back. Well, listen, enjoy your time. I know you had a good time with the New Jersey meetup. I hope that you get back home safely, and I see all your pictures and stuff you posting. You looking good and doing great. Happy that you're able to tune in with us. Yeah, let me see. So no one has the right to right. You're right. Nobody has the right to rob you. You have the right to wear whatever you choose to wear. Now we're gonna watch the video of this Brooklyn pastor who has again over $1 million in jewelry that he wears daily. Rides around Rolls Royce, rides around big body luxury vehicles, lives lavish. He said, that he gets his money from real estate investment, I guess from flipping houses. But there's only, there are some concerns that his place of worship uh, is not doesn't look prosperous. He looks very prosperous, but his place of worship looks very, let's just say, not what it needs to be at. Because I think your place of worship as a pastor, as a leader, your place of worship should be kind of a direct representation of you and your congregation. I think all that should tie in. I think all that should tie in. I'm not saying that you got to have gold doorknobs and stuff, but I just think, if you can walk around with $1 million worth of jewelry on, if it's real, if you can walk around with that much jewelry on, then surely you can say, well, let me uh, uh, invest in my church family's facilities that we can have somewhere that uh, we can worship. Let's see. Ride what you want to, yeah, ride what you want. Yeah, definitely. Like, listen, I agree with him. He said it's his choice. He ought to be to wear whatever he wants to wear. He ought to be riding whatever he wants to ride. Michelle, he said it's a temporary place. He's getting the one he bought to get. They did say that he said he owns a whole block. He owns a block and he's getting a facility built. And there is talk that that his congregation is only of 30 to 40 people, and that's neither here nor there. But my main listen, do we take offense to preachers who live lavish? Do we take offense to is it their fault if he is a scammer? Okay, if he is a scammer, is it their fault that you choose to put your money into their pocket? But let's get back to the video. Let's watch this video quickly. And this is him talking. And this is why some people say that they think it is a scam, because it seemed like they saying that it seemed like he was giving key uh key words that the robbers should know when to come in at. And I hope I can get it started right at the point here. Let's see.
Somebody else die what you about to go through. Yo. All right.
Okay, right there is where he said somebody's about to die and go through what you are getting ready to go through. Now that's where the assumption or the accusation is that this was a setup by the preacher. Now I'm gonna go back and see if I can pull this again. And we want to go from exactly from where he said, and I want you to listen to what he said. Now, there's another video that gives more context right before he said it. He says a couple more things, but this is the only one I can find right now. Let's listen closely. Turn up your earphones and listen.
Saw somebody else die what you about to go through. Yo. All right. Yo, all right. Nobody move.
Now check this brother out right above me, right there. Check that brother out right there. Check him out. This is another reason why they say that it seemed like it was set up, because this brother had absolutely no reaction. He has absolutely no reaction.
Nobody move.
Helen Osborne. Yeah, listen, I agree with you. He said that the gunman the robbers put a gun up to his wife and his daughter's head. Look at at the brother. Look at the brother. All right.
Come on, hustle. Nico.
Yeah.
Stay.
Just
Don't
stay.
move. Come here. Come here. Come.
That brother right there ain't
Come. Go to
moving.
your mom. Go to your mom. Go to your mom. Go. Go. Oh,
You know something I'm noticing?
just stay there, okay? Come. 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 Come
Look
on.
at that brother right there.
Come
Look
on,
at that brother.
Just don't worry about no fucking iPad. Come on, it's an exit this way.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Listen to that again.
Just don't worry about no fucking iPad.
Whoa.
Come on, it's an exit. Come on. Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad.
Whoa. Did y'all hear that? Did anybody catch what was said? Did anybody catch what was said? You listen, in the heat of the moment, you will say something. Let me get through these comments. Let me get through these comments real quick. Michelle said, ride, what you want to ride? She said, temporary. We got that. She said, they could be millionaires. I got to answer. Hey, this it could be. Yeah, dude over here in the corner, he was a statue. He was scared. Now he moving. Of course, yeah. But I want y'all to listen closely to what the lady of God or whoever said right here. Listen, turn it up. That's why you listen. I preached a sermon today about putting on the whole armor of God, having complete protection from the head of your feet, with the helmet of salvation down to the sole. No, I said from the head of your feet, from the head of your from top of your head to the sole of your feet, with the helmet of salvation to your feet, that should be fitted with the preparation of the good news of Jesus Christ. Right? You should have, your mind and everything should be at all times. You should be ready and in battle mode. But listen to what this lady says. Wait a minute, I got to make sure. Listen to what she says now. Now, this is, listen, in the heat of the moment, can you still hold your composure? Listen.
Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad.
Whoa,
come on, it's an exit.
Jalen.
Just don't worry about no fucking iPad. Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad. Come on. Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad.
Okay, all right. I think y'all get the gist. The lady said, don't tell me about no freaking iPad. Now, I can't say I wouldn't have cussed in that situation. I don't know. I just don't know. I see my wife is watching. I know she had left to go to the store. Not sure she's back yet. But yeah. She's Mary says that yes, Lord, they cuss me in the church. Can you listen? What they say, what is in you will come out. Huh? That's what they say. What is in you will come out. Yeah, listen, I ain't even going, I'm back it up. One more time.
Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad.
Don't tell me about no freaking iPad. Huh? That's right. No iPad. Y'all know what the F means. Yeah, and listen, right now, all y'all, please share this on your timeline. Please share it on your timeline. Please share. We're gonna, share it on your timeline. You get robbed, you may. Hey, listen, I can, and I'm definitely not picking at the situation because I'm glad that nobody was hurt. Helen said she heard what she said, and that lady, she might not even be saved. She might have, but the baby was like, "Yo, my iPad." Mom was like, "Don't tell me about no effing iPad." But the thing that I want to get back to, Helen said, "It's not what goes in, and it what come out." I got you. I don't think it's a fault of the pastor to wear what he wants to wear. I just think you have to be conscious of your surroundings and not only think of yourself in times and situations like these. Donis Bowell, Kaylin Turnipseed, what's going on? That's my family right there. One thing I noticed in the mayhem, and I'm gonna see if I can back it up and show y'all what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can. What I noticed in the mayhem, right, starting right here. Let me see if I can. I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see what I saw or didn't see, and y'all tell me. Y'all tell me what you didn't see.
Come on, hustle. Nico, go. Stay. Don't move. Come here. Come here. Come. Go to your mom. Go to your mom. Go to your mom. Go.
What do you see or don't see?
Just stay there, okay? Come on. Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about no fucking iPad. Come on, it's an exit this way.
Saw somebody else die, what you about to go through. Yo. All right.
All right. What I noticed, which seems to be the norm in most of our churches. What am I talking about? Somebody tell me what I noticed. What did I know? What did you notice? Well, since ain't nobody tell me, matter of fact, I'm gonna give y'all 30 seconds. Somebody needs to tell me in 30 seconds. I'm gonna give y'all 30 seconds. Tell me what you noticed. I'll be back. 30 seconds. Listen, what I noticed, and Michelle and my niece, my favorite niece, by the way, she's my favorite niece out of all the nieces that I have. I love you, Kaylin. No ushers, okay? No security, but even first and foremost, no real presence of men in charge. No presence of men taking control of the situation. We saw, which I don't disagree with the brother who was on the side who really looked like he didn't know if it was real or what. Now I'm gonna tell you, I probably would. Soon as they would, I ain't lying. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Y'all can call me crazy if you want to. Like, oh, my niece said, "Love you too." My niece said, all she saw was at the very end. You seen it come, and the men, they look just as scared. They in New York. None go to. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. If it had happened to me, somebody had coming out. I had to do the Fred sample. Oh, coming to join you, honey. Yeah. Ellen said, I see preachers stuff and not try to help them. And the guy said, yeah, and listen, in a situation like that, I can't say for real what I would. most certainly sure there was a process that was going through everybody's head. But what I'm seeing, and I'm just, there's a lack of men's participation or men's presence in the church. Listen, guys, we've had the shooting at the historical black church in Charleston. We've had all types of churches were supposed to then start doing security. Listen, we better be careful talking about bringing firearms into the church. We better be careful talking about having people with concealed weapons in the church. Yeah. And the church that I was attending, I know one time the pastor had, we were talking about, and I think that they had some people who were licensed concealed weapon holders for the, because the church that I attend was on the list when that dude, what his name was, Daily Roof, or whoever who shot all those people out in the church. Well, the church that I attend was also one of the churches on the list out of the trust. Some people say that guy was even tied in. This hearsay, allegedly, that he was tied into Mr. Bumpkins down here, down in but that's neither here or there. But we had, got concealed weapon classes, and they said there were folks that was in church that will not be known who it is that will have concealed weapons on them at all times for the purposes of securing the church. Well, let me say, my brothers and sisters, I urge every church, every organization to be very careful of, and I'm not saying that the decision to do that was right or wrong. What I'm saying is we need more training than just a CWI class, a CW, whatever, a concealed weapons permit. I say CWI, a concealed weapons permit class in order to secure a building or protect individuals, because you don't want someone having access to firearms who have no concept of other people. Concealed weapons. Thank you, TL. A CWP. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I said CWP. Churches have to be involved to now shut up. But and you know what? I'm just gonna be honest with you. And this may not have been the first time this has happened. I'm pretty sure some other church has, but this is the first time it was, let's just say, high profile. The guy is now Paul Crowell. He is a very flashy teacher. He doesn't. He is non-apologetic for being who he is. But let's be clear. Normally, after things like this happen, there seems to be a truth. So I urge everyone to be vigilant and be observant. My wife would tell you, I look at everything. I don't care where I go at. I don't know if it's my military training from being in the United States Marine Corps, or I don't know if it's just my instinct that wherever I go, I'm looking. Me and my wife may go to an event, and she may be really looking in our actual 20-foot radius vicinity. I'm actually scoping 100 yards north, south, east, and west. That's just the way it is. When we go to a restaurant, there are certain places I like to sit. I don't want my back to the door. I don't want to be distracted or in the middle of something. I don't feel comfortable unless I'm able to have a wide view of everything that's going on. Okay, everything that's going on. And that's just a habit I've had for long. I don't like going to football games, basketball games, large places. There is very limited things that I can do if something does happen, you have to be conscious of if you're in the middle section of a football or basketball game, and I'm not joking with this about if a stampede or something breaks out, the first thing that happens is people panic and they start running and stumping. You as one individual cannot hold back thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure people when they're running and skating. So I like to be high up where I can see down whatever going on. And I just hate to say it like this. Yeah, y'all, everybody else down there, y'all get audio going in and out. Let me listen. Y'all let me know is the audio still good? Is the audio good? Somebody let TL say the audio is going in and out. Let me know real quick. Somebody, Shamika Herring going in. The audio is bad. Okay, give me one moment. Let's see here. One moment. 212. Let's see here. 212. How about that? How about that right there? How about that? Y'all let me know how we sound now. Let me know how we sound. Somebody give me some feedback. Y'all give me some feedback. Okay, good. Yeah. But I am a very observant person. That's why I think a lot of people who used to see me at church services or big functions, whether it's Wateree Baptist Association or any type of church functions or even at quartet programs, is a lot of people say that when they see me, I always have a mean look on my face. My wife tell me I wear my feelings on my shoulders, but it's just embedded in me that I'm always on alert, you know. But I'm gonna tell you something. Somebody needs to be on alert. Uh, Thank you, TL. And let me go back and get my favorite niece's comment right here. She says, "Our church have the doors locked once service started, and we have somebody in the front watching the door, and they are and not this is to the degree where I feel like services should be handled. Once the service starts, the doors are locked. We do understand that there are people that may come in late, but most of the time, people who come to church, you are able to recognize them. Okay, you are able to recognize them. So when you see someone who you've never seen before dressed particularly whatever way they dress, you have and we may have to get to the place where, just like in some school, you have metal detectors. You know, in some churches they started giving you temperature readings at the door, and make sure you have, just like with the COVID pandemic, there were certain precautions and things. I think it's long overdue. Yeah. I think it's long overdue. But for the man or woman, men and women who are coming to church with their pocketbooks loaded up with pistols, ready to defend the church in case something go wrong, just make sure you know what you're doing. So I say this. I don't know whether the pastor who got robbed, whether it was a setup. I don't know whether, I don't know about none of that stuff. But I do know that he does have the right to wear, ride, and live as he pleases. I told my wife earlier today that if he is scamming somebody and using other folks' money as a come up, if he has people at his church, see, the thing is, preachers who are scammers, either one or two things: you just gullible, or either they are gullible following him, and or the ones that are there are involved in the process of the scam. Now, let me go back. I want to go back to the presence of men in the church. There ain't too many people or too many places where the presence of men, the strength of men, where somebody is going to attempt to violate that place. They would think twice before violating a place of business that have strong or a presence of strong men. Like today, I spoke today, and from the I get to see the congregation, much of the congregation from the drums as I play from Sunday to Sunday. I get to see them, but from the pulpit area, you can look over the congregation and you can see the majority of women that flood the church. And we're talking about, I'm gonna say at a ratio of probably to every 5, 6 women, there maybe one man. And this is not just talking about our church. I'm talking about churches, period. Women seem to dominate the scenes at the church. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Helen said, yes, they locked the doors at the church. Let's see. Too many godly people jumping on the bandwagon of saying it's a setup. Instead praying the truth comes out and hearing begin. Listen, it's ironic that you said what you said, because that was one of the strong points in my sermon today, that before we make decisions or come to conclusion, what we ought to first do is pray and seek God's face in every situation. I totally agree. That's why when I kept hearing people saying it was a setup, and listen, I don't agree or disagree whether it was a setup or not. I know he came on to Larry Reed's live on Instagram, and he was kind of passionate about how he felt disrespected, that people was making a mockery out of his church being robbed, because he was saying, hey, the gunman had a gun up to his daughter's head. In other words, as if he had to move. And some people were saying, well, listen, if they had a gun up to my daughter's head, they would have had to kill me. I would have gotten my daughter. Well, listen, that's why you got to be careful with saying what you really would and wouldn't do, because as a father, as a protector, if something like that is happening, you have to say, if I do make a move, it takes a chance of them harming my wife or my daughter. But if the situation is, most of the time, people who rob you, most of the time people do stuff, they don't want no more on their plate than they can handle. Most of what they want to do is come in and get what they need to get. And you heard the gunman, they were just telling everybody, nobody move. Nobody move. I guess that explains why homeboy in the corner, he was just like, hey, bro, you ain't got to worry about me moving. I ain't moving. Huh? Yeah. Michelle says, because men feel like churches are set up to get your money to make the yeah, and they do. But I go back to, listen, you can only be scammed if you allow yourself to be scammed. And what I mean, and like I was explaining to my wife, is people got to be held accountable for being so gullible. Now me personally, I can't say that I would follow somebody who has on over $400,000, $500,000 worth of jewelry and flashy. And listen, I don't have nothing against this. I don't know him. I'm not going to speak bad about his ministry because I don't know much about his ministry part. But he is a bit flashy for my taste, but I don't even hang around regular people like that. So that's just not my cup of tea. We used to call it, back in my days of dealing out in the streets, we used to call it being flossy or being commercial. And what is a commercial? A commercial is something that is advertised, something that you want people to see. When I was involved out in the streets and was carrying around various different things, whether it was guns or drugs in my car, I remember one of the big homies who I respected very well. I had the loud music, boom, 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 loud music, and I had, this in the car, and he was like, yo, you riding dirty? I was like, yeah, I'm riding dirty, man. Holding it down, blase, blase. And he was like, yo, what you doing? And I was like, what you think I'm doing? He's like, you drawing attention to yourself. He said, people don't have to wonder what you got. They already know what you got. So you an easy target. The police, you an easy target. You know, tone it down. Ain't nothing wrong with having your music, but be respectful to other people's that's riding by you, that's in your neighborhood, around your house. When you riding, you ain't got to lean back all in the seat, and I was like, wow, I just thought that's what me as a street dude back in the day, me as a quote unquote wannabe. Let me see, y'all can't see my quotes. I need to do with this hand. Quote unquote thug. I thought I was a thug. Now you couldn't tell me I wasn't a thug. Now I thought I was a thug. I was a Christian thug though. Yeah, I was a thug. I still went to church though. I was a church going thug. Yep, singing and everything, playing drums, doing all that. But yeah. Let's see right here. He really cussed. What do you mean? He really cussed? Michelle, tell me what you talking about right there. Oh yeah. I get it. He cussed Larry Reed and the Prophets is out. Yeah, he did, and that's why I say you have to be careful. You never know your response. Yeah. You never know your response. Yeah. Michelle said, I ride with my music loud, LOL gospel, that is. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. It's when you, in the case that I'm stating, that in my mindset, I was drawing attention to myself, knowing I had, I wasn't. And you know what? To be honest with you, I think a lot of times, as a street dude or as a thug or as a quote unquote, some people want to be gang, I think a lot of the thought process is you don't feel more street or gangster unless you get pulled over or you get, it's a weird thinking process. I hope y'all kind of understand what I'm saying. Them days are over. Yeah. Wait. Listen, I now it kind of aggravates me when I hear excessive music. And I just realized, wow, I was that young man that 3 o'clock in the morning coming home, riding around the neighborhood, shattering people windows with my loud music, at the red light, sound like I got a bunch of trash cans in my trunk, disregarding what everybody's around me. Yeah, on that live. Yeah. Michelle thought Michelle, sit down somewhere. No, you don't. Yeah. She said, I be sleep by then. Yeah. But y'all, listen. Again, I'm only gonna go an hour today, so we got to probably about 12 minutes. One thing I want to get into also, unless somebody else got some comments about the bishop who got robbed. And again, we can't, if he is a scammer or whoever Christians are getting scammed by, don't be so gullible. What we saying right here, Darius said, yes, she does LLA in the daytime. Yeah, okay. Yeah, listen. I have a strong belief. Matter of fact, let me talk about this. Day in and day out, we have preachers that maybe, and I'm bringing the conversation up because I was telling my wife about it. I said, you notice, Michelle said, I used to drive that $100 bill car with the, okay. Okay. All right. I think I know what you're talking about. You ever notice that if a pastor is removed from a church or a pastor resigns from a church, and I was talking to a good friend. I either was telling my wife about it or either one of the a good friend of mine. I can't remember who, but you ever notice that she said we wasn't pastors did. That when these things happen, let's say a pastor sits a deacon, trustee, maybe whoever in the church down. Let's say when that happens, that person is still expected to still come to church and still participate in the church. If y'all agree with me, somebody type in yes. If you agree with what I'm saying when it comes to that, type in yes. There are not many times where a pastor sits someone down and they ask them to leave the church. Okay, thank you, Darius. Thank you, because I think everybody else scared. Yeah, you're right. Yes, but 9 times out of 10, Darius and Michelle, the person is expected to sit down from their position, but still hold true to everything. Helen says yes. Let me put these up here. Darius said yes. Michelle said yes. Helen said yes. And they are still held to the obligation of paying their tithes and being a part of the services and functions of the church. So let's get this anyway. I ain't got long. I told you I ain't gonna be on here, but what? I got like 9 more minutes. So when people are sat down in church, they are still held to the expectation of participating in the church. But my brothers and sisters, when pastors are removed from churches or lose a position as pastors at churches or whatever happens, there's not many times where a pastor will stay at the church. And why is that? Why can a pastor only be at a church that he is over? Because even as a pastor, you are still a member of the church. You are still needed at the church. Your function just may not be needed as a pastor at the church. We're going to have to go. But hold up. Michelle said he's offended and hurt. Everybody is offended and hurt when they get put out of position. Huh? I think we're going to have to, I need to bring some pastors. I need to bring some pastors on here. I need to get some people. I need to get some lay members. Somebody needs to really talk about this. There's an expectation that pastors have of the members that they don't keep of themselves. Can't stand to see that who was against them. But listen, is as you as a pastor, is that your only duty in the church? Is that your only call of the church? Is the pastor and of a church decides that you are no longer fitting the bill that they desire for the church? That doesn't mean that you don't still hold a function in the church. If preachers and pastors love the church so much, would you just, because that's why we, and again, me and my wife, we had this conversation all the time. I believe, and I tell in and everybody, I'm not saying that there aren't people who've been given the vision from God to start a church or leave a church to do something else. Let me see. Some real Pastor Todd. Right. My wife said depends on the reason he left or was removed. Well, okay. Well, listen. Okay, wife, Helen, Michelle. Does it matter the reason? Because it didn't matter the reason when he or she sat somebody down or took somebody out of their position. Because my main point is they are whoever is sat down in the church, and it's just for conversation. I've never said. Has anybody seen it where a pastor was removed or sat down in the church and he still stayed as the pastor as a member of the church and still supported what was going on. Y'all look like I had something in my nose. Y'all forgive me. One of them gray hairs, probably. I just want us to think and listen. Don't nobody look too deep into what I'm saying and try to figure out if I'm talking about somebody. No, I'm just talking in general. That was a conversation that me and I said, babe, you know what? I because all of us know of pastors or have been at a church where pastors have been removed or stepped down or whatever. And so I don't want nobody to think I'm trying to dig up certain situations, but I've never seen where pastors choose to still stay within the ministry. Listen, is it that pastors and people, even the people in a position, some people once they get removed as a deacons or trustees, when their position, when their position tenure time has come up, long as they in position, they okay. But once their time is up and they get moved out of position, they don't want to be a part of the whole. Listen, everything happens for a season. I believe that pastors have seasons. Me personally, and this is just I don't think pastors, unless I would say, unless you started a church, I don't think pastors should have long tenures at churches. I don't think pastors should be pastors of the same church for 20, 30, 40 years. I think it's a new time in the process for there is new put it like this right here. Technology changes. That's why even in position with deacons, trustees, and people in the churches, these folks after a certain time have to be not removed because of something bad, but because times have changed and their way of thinking and their way of adjusting to things have changed. They are not up to date or privy on the newer technical ways of doing stuff. Michelle says she never seen it. Darius says I've seen it 3 times. Listen, give me example of what you talk about. I want to make sure that you saying, Darius, that you have seen 3 times where a pastor have been removed and stayed at the church, or you seen it 3 times where pastors have just been removed. Just type in being removed, and if you just talking about being removed, but if you're talking about removed and stayed, type in removed and stayed. Okay, it is indefinitely, maybe if it's in if it's infidelity, maybe they would. Well, okay, listen, even if it's infidelity, when it's another position, that person is still expected to stay at the church, ask God for forgiveness, go into sabbatical, if I'm using the term correctly, sit down from the position, but learn, repent. Huh? Why is it sometimes it's better to leave to keep confusion down? Most preachers go back to their home church until they are called the pastors again. Yeah, well, that's some preachers do that, or some preachers just start another church. Some preachers, no sooner than they are removed from the church, they go start another church. Yeah. Darius said it was a weird situation each time. Now, this is a very important statement. That's why you stay relevant to the time. Now, there are preachers who have been preaching for a long time. They stay relevant to the times, and or they bring people along with them in the process through the ministry, connect, who are relevant with the time. Some pastors got their stuff together now. I could not listen. I don't want y'all to, because I know somebody in here, pastor, probably been pastor for many years, and you're gonna say that Todd said you don't need to pacify it. No, I'm just saying I believe in certain situations pastors need, because, and y'all know I state this all the time, even retire on your job. You even move up in different levels on your job. And I do believe that there are a lot of things that should be done in season. Oh, is that a gray hair? I don't know. Y'all. Yeah. Darius says they had major scandals. They were sat down by their governing body and remained, and eventually reinstated and restored back. Okay, now, Darius, are you talking about pastors, or are you just talking about positions? But if so, that's the proper way. That's the proper way. Yeah. Most pastors be removed going with members in the church. Well, listen. Wait. Okay, remove the state. Listen, I don't want to get the premise that when we talk about pastors being removed, that it's always got to do with something sexual or something like that. Sometimes pastors are removed simply because disagreements or doing something that's was in or out of the bylaws, or just the church may feel like at this point that there's no growth with the pastor there ourselves. But I want us to get out of just the belief or the assumption that every time a pastor is removed or leave the church is because of infidelity. I think that's a bad stigma that's being put on a lot of preachers. Okay, I don't think to sit them down is the answer only, but counseling and restoration back. Michelle, that's a good point. That's a good point. But there are times where pastors, where there are situations where things have happened and memberships begin to drag, or people. And this would get me. Then people want to say, well, I ain't giving my money to that church because of that pastor. And see, this is where we have to understand that you have to understand the true meaning of your giving. If you feel like you giving to a man, then yeah, you need to, and I literally mean that you need to keep your money, because it ain't gonna be blessed. You know, the only thing that you're responsible for is to do what you're supposed to do. Whatever happens to the monies that is received after the trustees or whoever get it, that not you supposed to have concerns, but your concerns is not, you have people that would not come to church. You have people that just will literally stop paying tithes and offerings, and you almost force the issues of pastors being removed. But I ain't gonna. This not supposed to be getting off here. I told y'all I was gonna get out of here. Darius says pastors, OC, etc. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to see. One was a doctrinal. Okay, right. See, that's why I said every time somebody is sat down as a pastor or something, it ain't got to be no scandal or he done been with somebody in the church. This was. I'm glad you said it. One was a doctrinal disagreement. Yeah. And I can understand that. Yeah. My favorite niece said most pastors who don't retire already have somebody in position, but have to be mindful that some people won't like the change. Now that's totally, Kaylin, you right on the money. Yeah. People won't like the change. And let me just be churches, don't like change. When people looking for new leadership, when people looking for new leadership, they find themselves looking for the same thing that they really already had. They don't understand that change is exactly what it is. Change, a different direction. Yeah. Sometimes sometimes you have to shake up. You have to shake things up. Yeah. You have to shake things up all around, not sitting them down on the back row and walk at them and just no. Eric Montario, what's going on, good brother? How you doing, man? Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in to my podcast. Yeah, the discussion is we'll start out about the pastor that got robbed up north. I'm just doing a quick review. We was talking about the pastor who got robbed up north, and whether it was a setup or not, I don't know. I'm not privy to say. We was talking about his flashy jewelry. The pastor said he deserves to wear whatever he wants to wear, drive whatever he wants to drive, live wherever he wants to live, and I totally agree. I don't think because you're a pastor, you shouldn't drive or live or wear what you want to wear. My only concern or other observation would be you should be aware and sensitive to your surroundings as well as to your church congregation. I feel I wouldn't want to, and you know, people who are flashing anyway. I don't, you know, I said earlier, I don't hang around flashy people in my regular life, so I know I wouldn't follow a flashy person like that because it's, to me, it's called being commercial. When I was in the streets, that's what we call it. That what the big homie told me. We don't want to be flashy. We don't want to be commercial. We want to be under the radar, you know. But there's nothing wrong with looking good, feeling good, smelling good, riding good, and living good. But you must know when you have on. I mean, he was having on more jewelry than most of these famous rappers do. And these famous rappers, they even have security. So, but listen, he has every right to wear and do whatever he wants. Yeah, I do agree with that. And if he is a scam artist, I don't know if he's scamming the people. What's going on? Mike C. Adams, brother, what's going on? Kakisha and Mr. Johnson, what's going on? Listen, I just get sick and tired of people always blaming the man or woman of God and say they got scammed by this. Listen, a lot of times people who are under these leaderships, you either gullible and you don't think, or especially these flashy, or either these or either the preachers that scam it. The one normally, especially when they got these small congregations, normally they have a core of people that are scamming with them. Okay, I remember there was a church that when I was doing comedy, and I still, matter of fact, I've been getting a couple of people been asking me to do a couple more dates. I'm just kind of, you know, not really, you know, I'm coming back to it slowly, but we was doing a comedy show, and the pastor at the church was very flamboyant. Just let me say that, very flamboyant, and his men in his church was very flamboyant also. Let me just say that. Let me do it with this hand. Very flamboyant. Didn't hide it. And one part of my act was talking about gay men in the church, or either gay men, period. And one of the ladies must have knew my act because she kept wanting me to, she was saying stuff, she was a member of the church, and part of my joke was about real men. And she was like, talk about the real men and how they need to have real men in the church. And I'm saying to myself, no, you talk about it. I don't know if my wife remembered it. I was like, no, you talk about this church need to have real. Listen, why would you sit up under the leadership of a pastor who you think is, or know, because I don't know if he was gay or not, but I can say his actions, the smacking and rolling of the eyes and the neck, and he was the honey, and you know, they was I'm talking about they wasn't ashamed, but evidently everybody, maybe he was a family member, but he was the pastor of the church, and they was just, and I was like, oh, you want me to talk about it, but you a member here. I just stayed away from that. I think my wife said, well, why you didn't do that joke about, I used to call it the funny bunnies. Yeah, the funny bunnies. That's what I used to talk about. Yeah, but I didn't do it. And the other thing I was talking about, for those of you who just coming in, we was talking about situations of how many times have we seen pastors who have been set down or put out of, or either, you know, set out from being a pastor. How many times have you seen them remain at the church under that congregation because they are still needed to be a part of the church? Because just because you're not a pastor doesn't mean you're still not a part of the body of Christ or that ministry. is being a pastor your only function at a church? If you fail, let's just say if you fail as a pastor, should you just leave the church, or should you stay and still be a part of the church and support the church financially as you was doing before? Because most times when pastors sit, deacons, trustees, or people who lose their position in church, those people are still expected to stay and be a part of the ministry. 9 times out of 10, we don't see that happen. But Darius said that he has seen that happen a couple of times, where pastors or people in a position of leadership have been sat down. But one reason he remembered one was sat down is that it was because of a difference in doctrine opinion. So that person was sat down, and I guess after, time and teaching, and it must have came to a conclusion, they was reinstated. Let's see what Brother Eric Montari said right here. He said, you shouldn't be flashy neither. I feel if you do that, you're showing your love for material things. I just hope just because he's a pastor doesn't mean he can't be. And see, that's why I think this is where most of his flack is coming from the people. Like I say, he's up in Brooklyn, New York, and I must say I haven't been up there in a while, but Brooklyn, New Yorkers, Bronx people, they carry themselves, in a certain way. And that's neither good or bad, because I'm not talking bad about it, but his persona is like you said, just because you're a preacher don't mean you can't be touched. And I also said earlier, Montario, that normally when you see things like this happen, but we talking about people who are carrying weapons in church now, churches that's have people who are armed and security. People like to be copycatters. Now, I don't think he was the first person or the first church to be robbed, but this is the first kind of high-profile people who was brought to the forefront of something happening like this. Smack if T when he. I hear you, man. I hear you. You give money according to your beliefs. What they do with the money is on you. God is going to hold them accountable for their misuses of the kingdom's funds. If you tithe and give offering with pure intentions to uplift the kingdom, you should. Right. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. The devil has no place here. Boy, bye. I hear you, man. I hear you. Angel, tuning in from YouTube again. What is going on? My first extra viewer through the stream of YouTube. I appreciate you for coming back again. My first extra viewer who tuned in from YouTube. I don't have a great big following as of yet, but I thank God for the followers that I do have. And I appreciate you again, Johnson. I appreciate you again. They're still stealing shoes in New York. Hey, listen. They're still stealing shoes in New York. Eric has spoken. Right? Mike said, hello, just coming on. What was the last question in the statement of Pastor Stan? My question, Mike, was how many times have you seen situations where pastors have been sat down or either lost their position where they continue to still stay and serve at the church and be a part of the ministry and still help the ministry? In reference to when pastors sit people down, they still expect the people to stay at the church and stay a part of the church and still help the ministry. They just feel like that person is not is not doing their best in a position, and that somebody could do it better, or they need to be set down. So they still expect said A or said B or said C person to stay on the choir if they sit them down as a choir director or a minister of music or a musician or usher or a trustee or deacon. When pastors sit these people down, they still expect these people to stay and be a part of the ministry and still give and contribute financially as well as physically and spiritually to the church. Yeah. Yeah, but if you give your money to a nigga. I am Monterio. I gotta put Monterio on timeout. But if you give your money to a nigga that you know is crooked, wouldn't it be and see, that's why I say we can't hold these pastors all accountable for people who we claim are scammers. You know, because some of these situations that because I think they said that this guy already has a couple lawsuits on him for stealing close to 99. Yeah, I'm gonna just say that's what the lawsuit is concerned. It's him stealing 99. Anthony Sherrills, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. Stealing money. Like I said, again, I don't know whether he stole money from anybody or not, but 9 times out of 10 in situations like that, when you give money to a pastor or a person, you have already heard things about said pastor or said person. So if you still decide to invest or put your money into a person, and you are just like with the R. Kelly thing, there ain't nobody can tell me that half of these parents didn't already know or they knew about the situation with R. Kelly, but they still chose to put their kids with R. Kelly. And it's coming to the light that some of these parents even groom their child for R. Kelly. But that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, Mike, that's where and again, I say the pastor is allowed, anybody is allowed to dress as you please. But remember, when you draw attention to yourself, and what we used to call it when I was in the streets is being commercial. When you advertise, you bring attention to yourself. So what you're doing in advertising is you want viewers. You want people to know what you got. And like I said, what we noticed in the video that we watched, there was a very small, maybe there was some more men there, but we noticed a small presence of men in the church. A small presence of men in the church. Now, listen, guys, I thank y'all for coming on and being with me tonight. I guess, you know what? I guess I might as well just go ahead and let's just try to go to 10 o'clock. Let's just do that. I'm gonna go to 10 o'clock. I'm already here now. I'm gonna go to 10 o'clock. And then we're gonna go ahead and shut it down. Let's see what Mr. Johnson has to say. Kaylin, my niece said part 2. That's right. The pastor situation all depends on the denomination. In an independent type church organization where the pastor is hired, sitting a pastor down is a more simple process. But if the denomination is one such as the pastor is appointed and have a whole different set of circumstances where the pastors is members of another. Yeah, true. And see, that's the thing that I like about my podcast. I like having this open discussion because we can get views from because see, if the only view that y'all hear is mine, if I tell y'all, yeah, pastors ought to be sat down and it shouldn't be no. I'm glad. Matter of fact, I just want to thank everybody again, all the way from Kaylin to Monterio, to Mike C. Adams, to Michelle, to Angel, Darius, Helen, Trevisha, which is my wife. Thank everybody for commenting and just helping me have these conversations. Earlier, TL was on here, and like I said, Helen. Earlier, D'Angelo was on here. I think I got everybody. Jennifer, yeah, she's in New Jersey, but she normally she lives over in California. She's one of my E2M family members who is part of an awesome program called E2M. I advise y'all, and I'll talk about E2M program in the next couple of weeks, but it's closer time for enrollment. And I can tell you, me and my wife together in the E2M program have probably lost a total of 50 to 60 pounds total. Okay. But yeah, that's an awesome statement. But you know, I'm just because 9 times out of 10, most pastors are they become the member of their church, so they pastor their church. But when they get removed from the church as a pastor, they go off and start their own little thing. And again, like I said, this is not in reference to anybody. This is just a conversation that me and my wife had, and I was like, man, I ain't never really thought about this, but 9 times out of 10, in all my life, when I seen a pastor remove or sat down from a church, they normally leave the church instead of staying and being up. Because the thing to get me, a pastor can sit up there all day long and tell you how much they love. Oh, I love this church. I love this church. And then when the disagreement comes and we get no longer the pastor, they don't love the church no more, so they leave. It's to me, if you love the church that much, you should want to stay and still be a part of the. Like I said, this is just the way I'm thinking. You don't have to think how I think. We also talked about being aware of your surroundings. Ever since this robbery happened, I do believe that there will be more to follow. Especially when stuff is getting on the internet. But I was talking about how we got to be careful of bringing these firearms into the churches. It's not enough to have a CWP. It's not enough. Okay. It's not enough. I think there needs to be way more training than just know how to shoot at something that's a target. People need to be taught at the church proper security. My recommendation is once church service has started, you need to have lock the doors. All doors. There should be only one way to enter the church, and there should be of some type of presence at a back door where, because of fire hazard reasons, all the doors can't be closed anyway or locked up. There has to be access where people can get in and out. But we should have someone at the door, because most of the time, even if people come to church late, you already know who they are. But when they may pop up and you don't know them, then you can kind of assess the situation. And I do believe that nowadays churches will need to start having metal detectors. Yeah, I do believe it. Mike C. Adams. Everyone stand by. Tomorrow there will be an announcement for our new candidates for the at-large seat for Richland County 1 board member. I am excited about this. Mike, listen, Mike, has an announcement been made within the Lower Richland pages yet? Kaylin said, and listen, yeah, I do agree. You should do drills. Yeah, you should do drills. Yeah, churches need to do drills, and it need to be done during service. You need to let everybody know today during service we will do a drill in evacuating the building if it's a fire, if it's a tornado. You need to be prepared. You need to have an evacuation plan. You need to have a plan and tell folks, young and old, if something like that happens, we don't need no heroes in the church trying to take a gun away from the gunman. We don't need no heroes. Drop to the floor, do whatever is asked, and let the trained people who may be in the position to handle these things take charge. But we don't need 7 or 8 people all in the church shooting across the church and catching somebody in the crossfire. Mike said, "No, okay, well, you say no, not yet. So I don't want to touch it yet, Mike. And it is kind of late. I doubt if anybody gonna catch it anyway, but I'm pretty sure once the news get out, it will get out. I will talk about it a little bit more when that does happen. And like I said, maybe when you have time, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, we can get you on and we can talk about this some more, dealing with the school board and the situations and things we need. And not only that, but talking about gun reform, talking about how can we reach these youth. talk about the gang violence that has increased in the community. There are several things that are on the table to talk about, not only just the school board. But you know what, guys, I'm 10 minutes out, but I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, and that's almost where I feel like we're going. I don't want to try to stagnate the conversation, but I do appreciate, we may continue to come on later on in the night. I did have people who was Dorothy, what's going on? Say metal detectors in the church. Yeah, Dorothy. I believe metal detectors will be needed in the church. Just like we didn't think that they would be needed in school, they will be needed after this preacher, pastor. Listen, even if it ain't metal detectors, you would need some type of better security in your churches. Maybe even in somebody, because listen, everybody got a concealed weapons permit now. Everybody want to carry. There may be situations where churches put on, but listen, no weapons are allowed in the church. Yeah. Except those who have been designated. Yeah. Metal detectors in the church coming. I just believe it. Yeah. But that's a whole nother topic. We ain't gonna stay on this here. Mike said good night. Listen, I love y'all. I got to go. Doctor's still talking here. Let's see what a lot of people do bring their weapons with them. Yeah, I know. And my main point again is, it's not enough just to have a weapons permit to bring your gun to church. Most of us who have had gun or dealt with firearms under some type of class shot at a target that was standing still, but nobody has been taught proper protection or security of a facility. So we must secure the facility first. And I believe if something happens in a church function where somebody is coming in to rob the facility, we need to let our congregation know, first thing you do is exactly what they ask you to do. Get down, get under the bench if you have to. Lay down. We don't need no heroes. If there is a designated person at the door who has been trained in how to handle a situation, let them try to handle it. Beulah Holiday, what is going on? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Good night there, Helen. Thank you for tuning in. You know what? I might as well go ahead and take it to 10 o'clock. We got 7 more minutes. But yeah. I feel, listen, I don't want y'all to misconstrue that you don't need your CWP, your concealed weapons permit. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to bringing your weapons to church, the church needs to have trained people at the door. Because we can stop a lot of this at the door. Keep all the other doors locked till everybody. Listen, once 10 o'clock hits, once the church service starts, all doors are closed. The only door that you can get in is the front. So if you go out the back door, whatever, because I'm a drummer, sometime I run out the back door, go back to my truck. I may forget a bottle of water or something, or either I might go get another pair of drumsticks and I come back in. But we need those doors to be locked. And if, once those doors are locked, that man or woman or security person, that armed person is at the door watching and being attentive. And 9 times out of 10, everybody that comes to the church. There's something wrong if you see somebody coming dressed in all black and a long trench clothes. You already know not to let them in or to question them at the door. And I'm not talking about questioning everybody who, yeah. So this is what we're talking about. People say, okay, I'm with you guys. Yeah. But like I said, I got 6 more minutes, guys. We're gonna run this for 6 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get off of here. So again, guys, let's just take in. Just remember what we talked about tonight. All right. I believe if a pastors or whoever have been removed from positions, or people in the church who have been removed from positions, and you choose to leave the church, I think you only hurt the church. And like I said, it kind of brings up the question is, are you there for the church, or are you there just for the position of the pastor? And I just believe that regardless of what position, are you in that position? Are you at that church just for the position? If you are removed from that position, are you still not a part of the church? Do you choose to not be a part of the church because you're not in the position, or you choose to leave the church because you are you feel that you and the church are no longer in harmony? I'm just confused. See, this, again, my platform, the things I like to talk about is the things that people will not bring up and talk about. I ain't trying to throw no shade. I'm trying to bring conversation and hope that you all will think about this. You know, if I, as a member or a worker in the church, I am removed from said church, am I still willing to stay there and be a part of the church? Be a part of the church functions. Now, I know for musicians, it could be a little different, because most musicians are at churches for they have a contract or work agreement with the church, and so it is a sense of some type of employment. So just like with a job, if you lose employment, you go to seek employment from somewhere else. So because I can put myself in a situation, there are several scenarios that we can talk about. And because as a member, I say yes. She said, as a member, I say, but just like was it Mr. Johnson said, it all depends on the situation. But like I said, my main push was towards the leadership in the church. When you are removed from the leadership, why do we leave the church? Is if the church that you are a leader in, pastor of, deacon and trustee of, lay member, if you love that church, do you only love the church when you are in control or in charge? Only reason, Kaylin said, only reason why, because they had set a structure and they can still lead and help out, but in different ministry. Okay, I hear you, Kaylin. Y'all, that's my favorite niece on there giving dialogue. That's right. Kaylin, my favorite niece, Turnip Seed. Yes. Turnip Seed. Well, listen, guys, we narrowing down to these last 2 minutes, and I'm going to get off here. But I want to tell y'all how much I definitely appreciate y'all for being a part of my podcast. And the ones who was on here earlier today who asked me to come back tonight, I did not see them today. Or tonight, rather. So yeah, come back, because you better come back tonight, man. You have more viewers. Well, you ain't in here. So I got a bone to pick with y'all, right? So let me post again what Mike C. Adams said. And then we're going to close. Everyone stand by. Tomorrow there will be an announcement for a new candidate for the at-large seats for Richland One School Board member. I am excited about it. And Mike has already said that there has not been an official announcement within the Lower Richland community pages. So I will withhold announcement or spreading the news until it gets officially posted. But I do think that it definitely needs to be discussed, and we need to do as the title, as the show is called, let's talk about it. We need to talk about it. Let's see. Dorothy says they leave because they are not able to have the relationship with the people the same. They look at them and listen. They do listen, and guys, listen. Once again, I understand every aspect of it, but I think it needs to be a conversation, because I don't think, how many people ever looked at it like that? That when a pastor or person in leadership gets removed, why do they leave the whole church? Are they still not, do they still not have the love or the fellowship for the church? Or do they feel, are they embarrassed? Are they that hurt? Or yeah, let's see. Sum it up, pride won't let them. Okay, listen, and appreciate your uncle for saying it, y'all. That's my uncle. That's my daddy's brother right there. Matter of fact, that's a second uncle who been on the podcast today. My uncle, brother Thomas Folks was on earlier today, and here go my uncle John, the second deacon I ever known in my life. He was the second deacon. The first deacon I knew was my grandfather. The second deacon was my Uncle John, who is now Elder John Mickens. He's came up to a higher calling. He will always be held in high regards in my life and in my eyesight, because there was two deacons I remember being a young boy. The first one was Deacon James Mickens, and the second one was Deacon John Mickens. Uncle, I love you, man. Appreciate you for tuning in to the podcast. Yeah, some of the and listen, there are reasons for everything, right? And I just want to make sure that we all understand that I'm not here to say whether reasons a pastor may stay or a member may stay or leave is right or wrong. I just think the conversation needs to be had. But y'all, that's my time. I've enjoyed you guys spending your time with me at the Todd Mickens Let's Talk About It podcast. Let's hope that you're able to tune in next time where we can talk about NT and everything. Listen, guys, I'll be gone in no less than 30 seconds. So see you next time. Uh-oh. That was the wrong button. My son, I'm sorry. See you next time.